because we see you in the fifth quarter. It gets scary when we get into the fifth quarter. Your heart's
paid work.
Well, that's what's nice about it. You get off your chair. Hey, I pay my bills. Oh, your feet.
No, it's not me.
Is there something going on over there?
You forgot about the fifth quarter.
Hello, I'm Shaun Davies. I'm the drummer for the band Shrink Wrap. Formerly of the band Chihuahua.
Imagine a world where we produce relax. You know your pockets anyway. We're back on backs.
And I contributed to the soundtrack for Daniel Hutchings' thingy, The Fifth Quarter. I met Dan about 2 years ago. I was with my friend Joe Smith.
My name's Joe Smith.
He said that he knew this film director who lived nearby him, and he was working on a new film, asked if I wanted to come to the set. I thought anything to get out of work. I ended up on the set with Dan and Joe, just filming a couple of the preliminary scenes and shots for The Fifth Quarter. Some of it that ended up in the promotional materials. If you've watched the film in the cinemas, you can actually see me on that day, looking as Joe does this cracking shot, and I go,
that was the best acting I've ever seen.
One day Dan pops up and says, you know, do you want to do some of the tracks for Fifth Quarter? I think that's a wicked idea. I'd love to do that.
My name's Shaun Davies and I'm scoring a thingy.
Dan was showing Happy Returns on the big screen. I thought, you know, that just kind of reinforced, yeah, I really want to do this. Dan had said that he wanted this, you know, bombastic hip-hop soundtrack that's going to be complementing this film that is about, you know, basketball, life in the north of England, all of that coinciding with one another. So wanted something that sounded, you know, gritty, realistic, bombastic, you know, something to really bring to life these, you know, some of which are intense scenes, you know, during the film, the shootout at the end, the confrontation between the characters. It needed something to really bring that to life. This is a Squire Jazzmaster, which pretty much all of the tracks were composed on. It sounds good. This is a Korg Volca sampler. It's a great little thing. You can sort of mess with all of these different features on there. You can load all sorts of different samples, change the bass, the speed of them. You can have them going high-pitched, crazy fast, or you can slow them right down so you can't even recognise them and just add texture to the track.
Do you believe in the absurdity of the cosmos? You can't garb it. I'm telling you, you can't garb it.
It's amazing what you can do with this, and it only stores 4 megabytes of memory, which is a nightmare, but you make it work. But not all of the drums were composed on that. So me and Dan had rented out the rehearsal space above the Eagle Inn pub in Salford. We'd sort of set up a bed sheet on the wall and pinned it into place, and we had the working version of Fifth Quarter playing on there. And we just thought, let's play along to it.
We're currently doing the music for the little like ad at the start of Fifth Quarter, and we're having a lot of fun. Curtis Victor! wait. Curtis Victor!
Let's throw some live drum sounds.
Orchestrating the Fifth Quarter final montage.
On there, Dan was on the bass with me as well, so
Hello, here's a session of music necessary.
we were just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what's stuck. We came out with some cracking sounding stuff.
On never-ending search for tranquility. Find it down. Ginnels in the back alleyways. This city.
No Harm No Foul originally didn't have lyrics in there. It was originally an instrumental. Dan calls me one day and says, I've got some lyrics to go in place of just the audio here. So all I knew was that I was going to be shouting.
No foul. No foul.
We just decided to see what happened. So it was a sort of impromptu kind of song about kind of feeling alienated in a big city. Again, mirroring what's happening on screen.
I feel like I just landed it the other day. this overcrowded planet, pretty far away.
You know, we were talking about feeling like an alien, just landing here the other day, and that's kind of what we're getting at in the film as well.
No harm, no foul.
MIDI keyboard, again, pretty much all of the tracks had something or other on here. I can't play a saxophone if that wasn't obvious, so I just loaded one onto here and played it like a keyboard. It really does save time. I've had one before that didn't have a pitch bend on here, and that's just hours of entertainment in and of itself. So even if you never make anything, you just go, you know, you'll never get bored. You'll never get bored. PreSonus with the Volca sampler. The annoying thing about this is that if you have a static DI box, which is one that isn't powered by a power source, the voltage on this is not high enough to pick any of that up. So you'll need one of these, a super overdrive. That sounds great. It really just sounds like you've shoved a screwdriver in your amp. Phaser pedal, you can't go wrong. Special shout out goes to Co-op's own brand Apple and Blackcurrant Squash. This stuff like got me through making the soundtrack. I must have had like, you know, 6 glasses of this on average in a, you know, hours session working on it. So, you know, I'm not sponsored or endorsed by the Co-op in any way, shape or form, but I just really love their squash. So this is better than Vimto. Controversial statement. I know that I'll never work in Hollywood again, but it's true. The scene where it's that sort of passing of the torch moment between the older female player, the younger female player, we needed a song to really emphasise that. That's where the song Elasticity came from.
I'm on the up, there's no hurt I can't leave from.
3 distinct parts to that song where it's building up at the start. It's sort of like the feel is, you know, walking your way up like a steep mountain or something like that. You know, you're determined, but you know there's challenges ahead of you.
We have been practicing. How are you doing? Oh, it's better when I get a few back off you.
And then the second sort of phase of that song is very atmospheric. The drums strip back and it is just a very spacey kind of guitar sound, which was largely made with just this little thing.
Oh!
The final bit is just that bombastic outro where everything's falling into place and you're going to give it 110%. And I think it just works together as a journey of a song, and it complements the journey that's happening on screen. We wanted, you know, someone with powerful female vocals. I'd come to know the members of Slaprash.
For your fate, can you wait? For your fate, can you wait?
My own personal opinion, they're the best band in Manchester and one of the best underground bands going at the minute. I think Amelia's got a great voice and I thought that she would fit the bill perfectly for that song, so gave her a call, we had a chat about it and she was game. She came round, we had most of the lyrics penned already, but she brought in not only her skills as a vocalist but also as a songwriter, and I think she just nailed the brief straight away. She just got what we were going for. And as I was describing before, those phases of the song, her vocals changed throughout the song. So they are that sort of like gruff, determined, you know, I'm working my way up this mountain kind of feel in the first part of the song. And then that second phase when everything's kind of clicking into place, she is a lot more reserved and sort of meanders her vocals through the music. And that complements exactly what we were trying to do. It was a subliminal thing that just all came together. It was fantastic. It was great fun to work with Amelia, and I highly recommend you check out her band Slaprash. When Fifth Quarter finally premiered on YouTube, I was first in line to go and watch it. So I'd already seen obviously our working versions and bits of scenes where the soundtrack had been put together with it, but I'd waited to see the fully complete version at the same time as everyone else. I was really impressed. I was really, really humbled to see how well the, soundtrack had actually come out, and how well it fit with what is happening on the screen throughout the film. I just had a great time viewing it, and then when Dan told me that it was going to be being screened as well in Manchester, came to that too, and my parents came down to that, which was really nice. And it was a whole different experience. You can compare watching a film on DVD, but it won't match what you go and see in the cinema. And it was that same kind of experience for me, hearing the soundtrack being played on surround sound speakers, being there with everyone who was largely experiencing it for the first time. It was a really, like I said, it was a humbling experience. It was really nice to get that feedback on the soundtrack, and I'd had a few people saying that it changed the film for them. It added a whole different layer and perspective to it, and for me to have had that kind of gravity in the film is just amazing.
Oh, you're right, mate.
You got me.
Just telling thingy about my grandma and her milk.
I think my favourite line has got to be the calcium deficiency line, which I won't spoil it if you've not seen it, but for those of you who have, you know what I'm talking about. That's my favourite line. But my favourite moment, I loved the nightmare sequence.
I don't need your help. I don't need your help. I don't need your help.
You feel like water. Come on now. You feel like water.
I thought that's just absolutely, wacky, and who else but Dan would have thought of that. I loved that bit. I thought it was a complete curveball on the rest of the film, but that's what you get with a thingy, isn't it?